They said we would never see the end of this legal storm, yet here we are, standing at the edge of a dramatic conclusion. With that single rallying cry from skeptics everywhere, the enduring battle between Ripple Labs and the United States Securities and Exchange Commission bursts back into the spotlight. Today, we are taking you straight into the heart of the most surprising turns, the boldest statements, and the simmering tension that has held countless XRP enthusiasts on the edge of their seats. Throughout this journey, we will unravel how a monumental poll, a pair of courtroom rejections, and some truly extraordinary decisions have shaped not only the fate of Ripple, but also the wider outlook for cryptocurrency enthusiasts across the globe. What exactly happened behind closed doors that turned this lawsuit from a tedious back and forth into a high-octane conclusion? And more importantly, how did 74% of participants in one particular poll turn out to be spot on in their predictions, even before the dust had settled? In this in-depth narrative, we will dissect the twists and turns that left many gasping, from Ripple's ambitious attempts to settle out of court with a massive penalty, all the way to the judge's refusal to budge when she felt the circumstances were not compelling enough. This is not only about one company's fate, it is about the bigger picture of cryptocurrency regulation, the unwavering fortitude of a passionate community, and how a legal conflict of more than 4.5 years reached a climax that no one could have foreseen at the start. Buckle up for an explosive breakdown of the facts and an inside look at what could be next for Ripple and the entire digital asset landscape. In this extensive exploration, we will dig deep into the poll that garnered over 5,000 responses, reveal why 74% of voters believed Ripple would simply end the case, and investigate how quickly that prophecy came to pass. We will examine the judge's unyielding stance that caused not one, but two settlement proposals to come crashing down. We will also shine a spotlight on the bold moves of Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple's chief executive officer, and how his strategic pivot from protracted legal battles to focusing on business expansion might change the entire blockchain world forever. Prepare yourselves for revelations that could make you question just how influential community feedback can be in legal showdowns. And do not be surprised if you find yourself more invested in the future of digital currencies than ever before. First, let us transport ourselves back to the pivotal moment when Digital Assets Daily, a crypto-focused publication, released a poll on its social media channels. It was a simple, straightforward question. Would Ripple continue fighting the appeal process, or would it just drop the entire matter and accept the existing injunction and $125 million penalty? The stakes were sky high, considering that the outcome of this poll would reflect the broader sentiment of the crypto community, who had grown weary of endless updates about lawsuits, countersuits, motions, and appeals. Interestingly, a landslide of responses soon revealed a powerful majority who were convinced that Ripple would walk away from the fight. Based on the raw data, 74% of participants believed that earlier concessions, attempts at settlement, and the sheer exhaustion of multiple court rejections meant it was high time to cut losses and move on. Now, it is not every day that thousands of engaged crypto followers collectively predict the course of action for a major corporation entangled in a complicated legal battle. The fact that they turned out to be correct has only reinforced the notion that the digital asset community carries significant insight into the strategic mindsets of these companies. Brad Garlinghouse himself seemed almost amused, even impressed, by the accuracy of these predictions. His comments shortly after the official dropout of Ripple's appeal gave an unexpected nod to the poll, confirming just how deeply the company has come to value the perspectives of its supporters. But the real drama was boiling below the surface. For many months, Ripple had been locked in a tense standoff with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, hoping to reduce potential penalties and scale back or eliminate a permanent injunction on its institutional sales of XRP. Yet the court, steered by the firm hand of Judge Annalisa Torres, did not yield. Time after time, Ripple and the commission teamed up to file motions that aimed to soften the blow. Time after time, the judge refused to budge, underscoring the principle that extraordinary relief under certain federal rules could not be granted without truly exceptional circumstances. The real kicker came when the judge refused to let go of what had previously been deemed a likely ongoing violation of securities laws. This aspect of the case is particularly crucial because it ties Ripple's underlying business model to the broader complexities of securities regulation in an evolving landscape. Many watchers of the crypto industry feel that the judge's refusal to modify the final judgment stands as a bellwether for how future cases might be handled. Is a broad crackdown looming, or will this case serve as an example of how an established firm can still thrive once it aligns its strategy with legal compliance? These questions linger as an undercurrent of tension that continues to ripple, pun intended, across message boards, social platforms, and investor gatherings. The abruptness of Brad Garlinghouse's official announcement, delivered on social media platform X, sent many into a fervor. After all, it was just one day prior that the court had slammed the door on Ripple's revised settlement plan, leaving the company with a stark choice: continue to fight or let the established penalty stand. By promptly stating that the appeal was being withdrawn, Garlinghouse fueled the conversation around whether the community at large had some insider-like intuition. Had the stress, expense, and public image concerns finally reached a breaking point? Did the leadership of Ripple perceive that continuing to battle the commission would set them further back in an increasingly competitive market for cross-border payments and blockchain-based financial solutions? Before we explore that speculation further, let us take a brief moment to appreciate something remarkable during this saga: the collective voice of the community. Over 4.5 years of drawn-out legal fights is enough to wear down even the most enthusiastic supporters. And yet, not only did thousands cast their vote in that pivotal poll, but they also turned out to be correct. If you find this behind-the-scenes synergy between corporate decision-making and community insight fascinating, feel free to show your interest in our discussion by offering a friendly gesture of appreciation, like recommending this deep dive to others who share your passion for all things crypto. Let us take this as our first invitation to keep the conversation going. Looking back at the early days of the lawsuit, it is astonishing how many twists have occurred. When the commission first leveled its allegations, Ripple was placed in a precarious position. Over time, the case turned into a symbol of the complexities facing cryptocurrency adopters and innovators, shining a light on how intangible digital assets could be classified under securities law. While many voices in the cryptosphere believed that Ripple's leadership might have to swallow a major penalty, few anticipated the roller coaster of negotiations that played out like a high-stakes chess match. Each settlement attempt was meticulously structured to appear fair, but Judge Torres's unwavering stance persisted. The existing final judgment was built on specific findings, and those findings merited real consequences. Crucially, Ripple's desire to reduce the $125 million penalty to half that figure, $50 million, was seen by some as an optimistic yet risky strategy. Even more eye-catching was the thought of removing the permanent injunction on institutional XRP sales. That injunction had, in many ways, lingered like a shadow over Ripple's future expansion plans. Lifting it would have cleared a major hurdle, allowing the company to engage more freely in the distribution of XRP for its cross-border payment solutions. Yet the court's perspective remained consistent. The nature of the offense and the earlier rulings simply did not justify unraveling the final judgment without showing an extraordinary reason. For players across the crypto landscape, from traders to casual observers, the question that followed was, might Ripple's strategic pivot pay off in the long run or hamper its growth potential? After dropping the final appeal, the path forward means working within the bounds of the judgment, paying the penalty, and maintaining compliance with the injunction. The tension that once fueled the lawsuit now transitions to a new phase. Can Ripple harness its resources and brand power to thrive, even under these constraints? This is not just about one company's existential battle. It might also define whether established blockchains and tokens can coexist with regulators when clarity and compliance are woven into the fabric from the start. Brad Garlinghouse, known for his steady leadership style and his vision for building what Ripple calls the Internet of Value, apparently sees a glimmer of opportunity now that legal distractions are petering out. He has given hints that Ripple will focus its attention on innovating, on forging more partnerships, and on expanding the usage of XRP in cross-border transactions. This is consistent with a broader ambition that has driven the company's evolution from a mere crypto-oriented startup to a robust financial technology provider. Can they truly shift from a defensive legal posture to an aggressive market strategy? If so, the next year or two could see Ripple reinvent itself in a way that many critics did not anticipate. At the same time, the crypto community continues to debate the implications of this resolution. Some see it as a defeat for a technology that consistently yearns for less regulation, fearing that the refusal to reduce the penalty or rescind the injunction might set an ominous precedent for future tokens that come under scrutiny. Others, however, interpret this as validation that eventually, even big players in the market can adapt to regulatory frameworks and still prosper. According to them, the final outcome might bolster confidence among mainstream financial institutions, who may now see a more clearly demarcated route for working with digital assets. Of course, no matter which camp you fall into, the narrative remains gripping. After a string of rejections, multiple attempts at settlement, and the unflinching guidance of a judge who refused to yield on the foundation of her ruling, Ripple has made a definitive choice. And that choice has proven the crypto community correct in a surprisingly precise manner. This synergy between corporate maneuvers and enthusiastic supporters in cyberspace underlines an evolving dynamic in the industry. Information often flows freely on social platforms, making it possible for large groups of people to make astoundingly accurate forecasts about events that, in decades past, would have felt locked away in boardrooms and courtrooms. Yet behind every sensational outcome lies a call for caution. Although Ripple may breathe easier now that the case is winding down, the brand's next challenge will be to maintain momentum and demonstrate tangible growth, both in profitability and in mainstream adoption. The settlement does not vanish into thin air. It remains an ever-present record that regulators can point to when assessing Ripple's compliance going forward. Still, the question beckons. Will the end of this saga encourage more crypto ventures to set up more robust compliance frameworks from day one? Or will it serve as a cautionary tale that pushes innovators to more crypto-friendly jurisdictions? If you have stayed with us through this intricate narrative, it might be because, like countless others, you recognize how essential it is to stay informed about these pivotal legal developments. If you would love to keep your finger on the pulse of major crypto revelations and the broader regulatory battles shaping the future of digital assets, consider following discussions like this whenever they surface. Let us count that as our second call to action. We promise we only do it twice, yet the magnitude of these developments totally warrants it. Looking upon the broader landscape, many market participants are quietly cheering the final resolution. Frequent references to investor risks, drawn-out court fees, and protracted confusion over whether XRP was or was not an unregistered security have weighed down the ecosystem for ages. For these individuals, the acceptance of the original penalty and injunction is a small price to pay for clarity and closure. After all, operational stability and legal certainty are invaluable assets in the high-octane world of digital finance. From this perspective, ending the case may signal the beginning of a fresh chapter for Ripple, shaped by a new willingness to align with legal precedents, refine best practices, and scale technology solutions that can surpass old payment infrastructures. Still, some dedicated observers bristle with skepticism. Could Ripple's management have forced a better deal by pushing the appeal further? Questions about the finer points of the law abound, including whether the Commission's approach to crypto tokens is consistent or merely opportunistic. Each settlement or judgment in the crypto domain, from Ripple to others that might soon be on the regulatory radar, forms a mosaic that guides how new protocols and tokens will be launched, audited, and promoted. While it appears that Ripple has chosen prudence over further confrontation, that choice might one day be re-evaluated through the lens of changing regulations or updated technological frameworks. Another angle worth exploring is the real impact on the broader public's acceptance of digital tokens. While dedicated investors learn to follow the day-to-day developments of the lawsuit, the casual observer might only have caught glimpses of flashy headlines and half-formed assumptions about the legality of XRP. Now that the official legal battle is drawing to a close, Ripple may need to undertake a renewed campaign of reputation management. Demonstrating that the brand's technology is not only compliant but also valuable in solving real-world problems could be crucial. The notion of frictionless cross-border payments, low fees, and near-instant processing must be front and center if Ripple wants to win over those who might have been spooked by the legal complexities. From an industry-wide perspective, this case illuminates an underlying tension that remains unresolved. How should innovative crypto ventures balance their technological ambitions with a fluid, sometimes ambiguous regulatory environment? In the eyes of regulators, oversight ensures that consumers are protected from misleading or fraudulent offerings. In the eyes of many crypto advocates, excessive red tape could stifle creativity and drive legitimate projects to more permissive jurisdictions abroad. Perhaps the greatest silver lining in this entire saga is the potential impetus it provides for more nuanced conversations and well-crafted regulatory frameworks, ensuring that no player, big or small, flies blindly into the crypto market. Meanwhile, it is impossible to ignore how quickly the conversation around digital assets evolves. In the time that Ripple fought this legal war, countless new tokens were launched, non-fungible tokens soared and slumped, and decentralized finance services found themselves under scrutiny for potential compliance issues. The crypto industry moves at a lightning pace, yet the Ripple case reminds us all that the law can move far more deliberately. This mismatch of velocity creates a fundamental tension that can spark creativity but also cause friction, confusion, and at times disillusionment among participants searching for stable regulatory guardrails. Though the lawsuit spanned more than 4.5 years, its repercussions may reverberate for an even greater span of time. There remains a sense that some in the cryptocurrency arena have not fully come to terms with the realities of legal accountability. On the flip side, regulators could glean insight from this experience, adopting more efficiently structured guidelines that map out permissible token offerings, trading practices, and governance standards. In retrospect, Ripple might emerge as a cautionary tale for certain business practices, yet also an example of how to adapt and endure. Neither extreme, complete triumph nor utter catastrophe, fully captures the complexity of the resolution. With that in mind, as we reach the latter segments of this dramatic narrative, let us circle around to what might be the deeper significance for individuals who hold XRP or keep a close eye on the broader crypto industry. Ripple's statement that it is ready to exit the legal conflict reflects a strategic pivot. Gone are the days of funneling massive resources into unending briefs and legal strategies. Now, the spotlight can turn to delivering real-world solutions that highlight XRP's utility. While some skeptics remain unconvinced, pointing to ongoing market volatility, loyalists are firmly convinced that this fresh start signals a wave of new projects, strategic alliances, and expansions into territories that have grown more receptive to blockchain technology. Yet one cannot disregard the possibility that the Commission, emboldened by its relative success in this case, might scrutinize additional tokens in the months or years ahead. Those working in similar sectors may need to reevaluate their own operational structures, ensuring that their distributions, marketing language, and business models can withstand rigorous regulatory assessments. The forging of responsible precedents is, in many ways, beneficial for the industry, even if it is painful in the short term. Ripple may have cleared a personal hurdle, but the next wave of crypto visionaries must tackle the abiding question: how do we bring revolutionary technology to market without running afoul of established legal frameworks? In the aftermath of so many waves of speculation, tense legal arguments, and endless community debates, this choice to let the penalty and injunction stand marks a definitive pause in one of the crypto world's longest ongoing disputes. The collective sigh of relief can be felt in the community, especially among those who grew fatigued by the relentless swirl of headlines. Yet the story is hardly at its final page. It simply enters a new chapter, where Ripple must demonstrate that it can flourish under these conditions and prove that compliance does not necessarily equate to stagnation. Will they succeed? The crypto community will be watching closely, especially the 74% who had unwavering confidence in Ripple's eventual decision to end this case. So, there you have it, a riveting odyssey where the synergy of legal might, business acumen, and community solidarity shape the destiny of one of the most talked about companies in the digital asset space. No matter which side of the fence you occupy, critic, supporter, or ambivalent observer, it is tough to ignore the significance of a moment when a poll of thousands foretold the end of a years-long saga with striking precision. The complexities of securities laws, the unstoppable innovations of blockchain, and the unpredictable roller coaster of social media speculation have fused into a single story that offers insight, caution, and perhaps even a spark of hope for a future that is both better regulated and more open to the promises of revolutionary technology.